Social media emotional manipulation. In 2012, Facebook did a secret test on 689,003 people without asking them or telling them about it. For 1 week, Facebook changed what these people saw in their news feeds. Some people saw more happy posts. Other people saw more sad posts. Facebook wanted to see if they could change how people felt by controlling what they saw. The test worked. People who saw more sad posts started writing more sad posts themselves. People who saw happy posts became happier. Facebook shared what they learned in a science magazine in 2014. That's when everyone found out they had been part of this test. Many people were upset, but Facebook didn't get in real trouble. And here's the really important part. This kind of testing never stopped. It's still happening today. Every social media company keeps doing tests to control people's emotions. They are checking what makes you angry, sad, happy, or scared. They are measuring how different feelings change how much you use the app, how long you stay on it, how many ads you see, and how much you click on things. Your newsfeed doesn't show posts in the order they were posted anymore. Instead, a computer program picks what to show you based on what the app has learned will keep you using it. And keep you using it usually means making you feel strong emotions. Right now, you're part of this test. Every time you open a social media app, what you see has been picked by computer programs that are testing different ways to control your emotions. Maybe you're in the group that sees more posts about politics that make you angry because the computer learned you use the app more when you're mad. Maybe you're in the group that sees more scary news because the computer learned that fear keeps you scrolling. The companies will say they're just making the app better for you or showing you things you care about. But that's hiding the truth. They are doing psychology tests to find the best ways to control how you feel so you'll use the app more and they'll make more money. You didn't say it was okay. You probably don't even know it's happening. But you're a test subject in one of the biggest psychology experiments ever done on people. The information from these tests is useful for more than just keeping you on the app. It's used to build detailed files about you that predict how you'll react to different posts, products, and messages. Political campaigns pay money to see this information. Companies selling things use it to create ads that use your specific emotional weak spots. People from other countries use it to spread lies designed to trick people with certain personalities. You can't stop being part of this test because stopping means not using social media at all. And for many people, that's not possible since these apps are such a big part of life today. So the test keeps going, always getting better at understanding how to control human emotions on a huge scale. Location tracking and movement prediction. Your smartphone knows where you are right now. It knows where you were an hour ago. It knows where you were last Tuesday at 3 p.m. It knows where you go every day, what paths you take, how long you stay in places, and who you're with based on whose phones are nearby. This isn't a guess. This is proven true. And this information is being used in tests you never agreed to. In 2018, people investigating found out that Google was tracking where Android phone users were even when they had turned off location tracking. Google was collecting location information from cell phone towers and Wi-Fi networks. The company said this was to make the app work better, but it was also feeding huge amounts of information used to predict where people would go. Many companies, Google, Apple, Facebook, and many others, are doing ongoing tests to predict movement. They are testing if they can predict where you'll go before you go there. The uses are clear for advertising. If they can predict you'll be near a Starbucks in 15 minutes, they can show you a Starbucks ad. But this goes way beyond advertising. Insurance companies are testing location information to measure risk. They want to know if you often visit hospitals, bars, or dangerous areas. Bosses are using location information to check that workers are really working. Governments are using it for watching people, tracking protests, watching immigrants, and trying to predict crimes. Right now, many apps on your phone are tracking your location all the time. Not just Google Maps when you're getting directions. Dozens of apps that don't need to know where you are collecting this information. That flashlight app, it's tracking your location. That weather app, tracking. That game, tracking. They are selling this information to data companies who put it together into complete files about where you go. In 2019, the New York Times got a data file with 50 billion location pings from 12 million Americans' phones. They could track where specific people went with scary accuracy, showing when people visited mental health doctors, abortion clinics, or met someone they were cheating with. The information was supposed to have names removed, but the Times easily figured out who specific people were. The test isn't just about collecting where you go. It's about testing how well they can predict what you'll do in the future based on where you went in the past. Research has shown that where people go is about 93% predictable. The other 7% is what these tests are trying to figure out. If they can predict where you'll go with almost complete certainty, they can predict and control your choices. You're part of this test every time you carry your smartphone. The information is being collected, studied, and used to build prediction models. And unlike normal research, which would need your permission after explaining everything to you, this happens automatically through those long agreements you never read. Dynamic pricing discrimination. Have you ever noticed that the price for something online changes when you check it from different devices or at different times? That's not a mistake. It's a test. Companies are doing huge pricing tests to figure out the highest price each person is willing to pay. You and the person next to you might see completely different prices for the same thing because computers have decided you're willing to pay different amounts. Airlines started this with ticket prices that change based on how many people want them, but now it's everywhere. Amazon, Uber, hotels, and countless other companies are testing individual pricing. They are testing if showing you a higher price based on what you've looked at, where you are, what device you're using, or what time it is will make them the most money. The test works like this. Computer programs track what you do, what you look at, how long you look at products, if you've searched for the product somewhere else, what device you're using, where you are, and hundreds of other things. Based on this information, the computer program predicts how much you're willing to pay and shows you a custom price. If the program thinks you're rich or really need the product, you see a higher price. If it thinks you care a lot about price, you see a lower price. In 2000, Amazon was caught charging different customers different prices for DVDs. After people got mad, Amazon said it was just a random price test and wouldn't do it again. But proof suggests they never stopped. It just got more sophisticated and harder to notice. Uber surge pricing is an obvious form of this. But the company also tests individual pricing based on user information. Research has shown that Uber charges iPhone users more than Android users because iPhone users usually have more money. The computer program has also learned that users with low battery care less about price. They need a ride more urgently, so it charges them more. Right now, every time you shop online, there's a good chance you're part of a pricing test. The computer program is testing what price will get the most money from you specifically. Two people looking at the same flight, hotel room, or product might see prices that are hundreds of dollars different based only on what the computer program predicts about how much they're willing to pay. This goes beyond pricing. These same methods are being used to decide what interest rate you're offered on loans, what you pay for insurance, and even what job opportunities you're shown. Computer programs are testing economic unfairness, checking how much they can take from different groups of people. The tricky part is that you can't easily tell this is happening. Checking prices in private browsing mode helps sometimes, but smart computer programs can still identify your device and track you. You're participating in a test designed to take the most money from you personally, and there's no way to see when it's happening or how the computer program makes its choices. Recommendation algorithm radicalization. YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and other apps use computer programs to suggest videos you might like. These programs look at what you've watched and suggest similar things. This seems helpful, but these apps are doing ongoing tests with what they suggest, and these tests have a proven side effect: radicalization. The computer programs have learned that controversial extreme videos get more engagement than moderate videos. People who watch extreme videos watch longer, click more, and come back more often. So the computer programs prefer suggesting increasingly extreme videos. This has been proven many times. People who watch one political video get suggested more extreme political videos. People who watch fitness videos get suggested extreme diet and bodybuilding videos. People who watch videos about relationships get suggested increasingly toxic relationship advice. This isn't an accident. It's the result of ongoing tests to increase engagement. The apps are always testing which types of suggested videos create the most engagement. The answer over and over is that pushing people toward more extreme videos increases engagement. So that's what the computer program does. Research has shown that YouTube's suggestion program has radicalized people into extremist beliefs. Someone who watches a video about immigration might be suggested increasingly extreme anti-immigration videos, leading down a path toward white nationalism. Someone who watches videos about healthy eating might be suggested videos about extreme diets, leading toward eating disorders. The progression is predictable and proven. Right now, you're part of this test. Every suggestion you get is part of a test. The computer program is learning whether suggesting moderate or extreme videos keeps you watching longer. For millions of people, the computer program has learned that radicalization works, that pushing people toward extreme views increases engagement, so it keeps doing it. Facebook's internal research that was leaked in 2021 showed that the company's own researchers warned that the suggestion program was promoting divisive content and radicalizing people. The research found that 64% of people who joined extremist groups on Facebook did so because the computer program suggested those groups. Facebook knew this was happening and chose to keep the test going because changing the computer program would reduce engagement and hurt revenue. The apps claim they are just showing people what they want to see. But that's not honest. The computer program isn't neutral. It's actively steering people toward extreme videos because extreme videos make more money. You might think you're making your own choices about what to watch, but the computer program is testing ways to influence those choices in directions that maximize engagement, often by pushing you toward increasingly extreme views. Voice assistant recording and analysis. If you have a smart speaker, smartphone voice assistant, or any device with voice activation, there's something you should know. These devices are listening way more than you think, and the recordings are being used in tests you never agreed to. Amazon, Google, Apple, and other companies have admitted that human workers listen to voice assistant recordings. The official reason is quality control. They need humans to check that the AI is understanding commands correctly. But leaked documents have shown that workers often hear private conversations, private medical information, and other recordings that were never meant as commands to the device. The devices are supposed to only turn on when they hear a wake word like Alexa or Hey Google, but they often turn on by accident, recording conversations that the user never meant to be captured. These recordings are stored on company computers and studied both by AI and by human reviewers. Right now, these companies are doing tests on voice information. They are studying speech patterns, emotional tone, background conversations, and sounds around you. They are building models that can detect emotions from voice patterns, identify multiple people in a house, and figure out activities based on background noise. In 2019, Bloomberg reported that Amazon employs thousands of workers who listen to Alexa recordings. Workers said they heard all kinds of private moments. People singing in the shower, children playing, couples arguing, and even what seemed like criminal activity. Similar discoveries came out about Google Assistant and Apple's Siri. The test goes beyond just improving voice recognition. These companies are testing how much information they can get from voice information. Can they tell when someone is depressed from their speech patterns? Can they identify health problems from changes in voice? Can they predict what you'll buy from casual conversations? Can they build psychology files from the content of private conversations? Amazon's Alexa division has filed patents for technology that would allow Alexa to detect emotional states from voice patterns and show targeted ads based on those emotions. Imagine talking with your partner about being stressed about money and moments later seeing ads for debt help services. The technology to do this exists and is being tested. You might think you can avoid this by not using voice assistants, but smartphones with voice assistants are always listening for activation phrases, meaning they are processing all sound, even if they are not supposed to be recording it. Many apps also ask for microphone permissions for real reasons, but could potentially be listening in the background. The most disturbing part is the lack of openness. You don't know when recordings are being captured, studied, or listened to by humans. You don't know what tests are being done on your voice information. You don't know what conclusions are being made about your health, relationships, or behavior. You're participating in a massive voice surveillance test simply by having these devices in your home. Facial recognition training. Every time you post a photo to social media, upload a picture to cloud storage, or appear in someone else's photo online, there's a good chance your face is being used to train facial recognition systems. And you probably never gave permission for this. Facial recognition companies have collected billions of photos from the internet to train their computer programs. Clearview AI, one of the most controversial companies doing this, admitted to collecting over 3 billion images from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and other sites. They built a facial recognition database that can identify almost anyone in the United States. Police agencies pay to use this database. You're part of this test whether you post photos or not. If you appear in someone else's photo that's posted online, your face is likely in these databases. The companies doing these tests argue that publicly posted photos are fair game. But most people posting photos never imagined they'd be used to train surveillance systems. The test isn't just about identifying faces. It's about getting information from faces. Facial recognition companies are testing if they can predict age, gender, emotion, political views, sexual orientation, and even personality traits from facial features. Research has shown that AI can predict some of these things with disturbing accuracy, though the technology is controversial and potentially unfair. Right now, your face is being used to train systems you'll never benefit from and might be harmed by. Facial recognition is used by police for surveillance, by stores to track shoppers, by bosses to watch employees, and by governments to control populations. In some countries, facial recognition is used to identify political protesters and minorities for persecution. In 2020, multiple studies showed that facial recognition systems have significant racial and gender biases. They are more accurate at identifying white men than women or people of color. This means the systems are more likely to wrongly identify minorities, leading to false arrests and wrongful accusations. Despite these known problems, the technology continues to be used, and the training tests continue. Facebook ran facial recognition tests for years, automatically tagging people in photos. The company built one of the world's largest facial recognition databases. In 2021, after lawsuits and government pressure, Facebook announced it would shut down its facial recognition system. But it kept the information. The training happened, the test ran, the information exists. You can't easily stop being part of facial recognition training. Even if you never post photos of yourself, if you appear in public spaces with cameras, if you appear in other people's photos, or if old photos of you exist online, your face is likely being used. You're part of a test to perfect surveillance technology that could be used to track your every movement in public spaces. Behavioral advertising psychology. Every ad you see online is part of a test. Companies advertising aren't just trying to sell you things. They are doing psychology tests to figure out which messages, images, colors, and emotional appeals work best at manipulating your behavior. Digital advertising allows for incredible testing. Advertisers can show thousands of different versions of an ad to different people and measure exactly which versions get the most clicks, purchases, or engagement. This is called A/B testing, and it's happening all the time. Every time you see an ad, you're in a test group, seeing one of many versions, and your response is being measured. But the test goes deeper than just testing different ad designs. Advertisers are testing psychological manipulation tricks, creating fake urgency, only 2 left in stock, exploiting fear of missing out, sale ends tonight, using social proof, 10,000 people bought this, and triggering insecurity, do you have enough retirement savings? Right now, advanced advertising systems are testing how to exploit your specific psychological weak spots. They study your browsing history, social media activity, and purchase history to identify your insecurities, fears, and desires. Then they test different ways to exploit those weak spots to sell you things. Facebook and Google both do massive advertising tests. They've built systems that let advertisers target people based on incredibly specific details. People who recently got divorced, people who are insecure about their appearance, people who are worried about their money, people who believe conspiracy theories. Advertisers can create messages specifically designed to exploit these weak spots. Research has shown that targeted behavioral advertising can be used to discriminate. Advertisers have been caught targeting predatory loans to minorities, targeting weight loss products to people with eating disorders, and targeting political propaganda to mentally vulnerable people. The apps claim they've put restrictions in place, but leaked documents have repeatedly shown that the restrictions are easily gotten around. In 2021, researchers showed that they could still target ads based on sensitive categories by using lookalike audiences and other workarounds. You're part of these tests every day. Every ad you see has been selected because a computer program predicted you're vulnerable to its message. Every interaction with an ad feeds information back into the system, improving the computer program's understanding of how to manipulate you. You didn't agree to be a subject in psychological manipulation tests, but you are one. The long-term effects of constant exposure to computer-optimized psychological manipulation are unknown. We're all subjects in a test that's basically about learning how to hack human decision-making on a huge scale. And the test is continuous, always improving and getting better at its techniques. Content moderation AI training. Every time you report content on social media, flag a video, or appeal a moderation decision, you're training AI systems. And these systems are being tested in tests that determine what content billions of people are allowed to see and say online. Social media apps can't possibly have humans review every piece of content, so they use AI moderation systems. These systems are trained by studying millions of examples of content that has been flagged, reported, or moderated by humans. Your reports and interactions with content moderation are training information. The test is about figuring out where to draw lines on acceptable speech. The AI learns from patterns in human moderation decisions, but it also learns from patterns in what people flag and what apps ultimately remove. This creates feedback loops where the AI learns to moderate based not on consistent rules, but on what creates the least controversy or legal trouble for the app. Right now, these systems are being tested on you. The AI moderation system decides whether your content is shown to others, whether you're shadow banned, your content shown to fewer people without telling you, or whether your account is restricted. You might never know you're being moderated because the systems work invisibly. Leaked documents have shown that content moderation AI systems have significant biases. They are more likely to flag content from certain demographic groups, more likely to remove political content from certain perspectives, and more likely to misunderstand context and nuance. But because the systems are secret company property, users can't see how decisions are being made. In 2021, Facebook whistleblower Frances Haugen revealed that Facebook's AI moderation test prioritized engagement over safety. The company knew its AI systems were failing to catch harmful content, including violent extremism, human trafficking, and suicide content, but chose not to fix the problems because doing so would reduce engagement. You're training these systems through your interactions, but you have no control over how the training information is used. The AI might learn patterns that reflect your biases without you meaning to teach those biases, or the app might use your training information to build systems that ultimately restrict your own speech. The test is also about checking how much censorship people will tolerate. Apps gradually adjust what content is allowed, testing if restrictions make people mad enough to leave. They are finding the boundaries of acceptable moderation. How much can they control speech before people leave the app? Sleep pattern and health data collection. If you use a fitness tracker, smartwatch, or sleep tracking app, you're participating in health information tests that you probably don't fully understand. These devices collect incredibly detailed information about your physical state, heart rate, sleep patterns, movement, exercise, and increasingly blood oxygen levels, body temperature, and even blood pressure. This information is supposed to be for your benefit, helping you track fitness goals and watch your health. But it's also being used in tests by device makers, app developers, insurance companies, and researchers. And the agreements you agreed to but probably didn't read likely gave them permission to use your information in ways you never imagined. Apple, Fitbit, owned by Google, and other companies have admitted that they use health information to train AI systems and do research. They claim the information has names removed, but research has shown that health information can often be traced back to specific people because movement patterns and health measurements are highly individual. Right now, tests are being done to see if wearable devices can predict health problems before symptoms appear. Can they detect early signs of heart disease from heart rate patterns? Can they predict mental health crises from changes in sleep and activity? Can they identify pregnancy before a woman knows she's pregnant? These sound like helpful uses, but think about the implications. If your device can predict health problems, that information could be valuable to insurance companies who want to deny coverage or charge higher prices. It could be valuable to bosses who want to avoid hiring people likely to have health problems. It could be valuable to governments doing surveillance. In 2019, it was revealed that a prayer app with millions of users was selling detailed location and movement information to third parties. Users thought they were just using an app for spiritual guidance, but they were unknowingly part of a location tracking test. Multiple studies have used fitness tracker information without clear user permission. Researchers have published papers studying sleep patterns, exercise habits, and movement information from millions of users. While technically legal under the agreements, most users never realized their information was being used this way. The test also involves checking how much health surveillance people will accept. Companies are gradually increasing the amount of body measurement information they collect, testing if people will grant permissions for increasingly invasive monitoring. Each new sensor and each new device is a test in making constant health surveillance normal. Your sleep patterns, heart rate, and movement information are creating a file about your health that exists in company databases. This file could be used to deny you insurance, affect your ability to get hired, or be sold to data companies. You're part of a massive health surveillance test, and you can't stop being part of it without giving up devices that have become part of modern life. Predictive policing algorithms. In cities across the United States and around the world, police departments use predictive policing computer programs that study crime information to predict where crimes will happen and who is likely to commit crimes. These systems use machine learning trained on historical crime information. And if you live in a city using these systems, you might be flagged as a potential criminal based on a computer program, and you'd never know. The test is about checking if AI can predict crime. Police departments feed historical arrest information, 911 calls, and other information into computer programs that identify hotspots where crime is likely to happen and people who are statistically likely to commit crimes. Police then increase patrols in those areas and increase surveillance of those people. The problem is that these systems create feedback loops. If a computer program predicts crime will happen in a specific neighborhood, police patrol that neighborhood more heavily, which leads to more arrests in that neighborhood, which feeds back into the computer program as proof that the neighborhood is high crime, which leads to even more patrols. Entire communities become trapped in cycles of over-policing based on computer program predictions. Right now, if you live in certain neighborhoods, you're more likely to be stopped, questioned, or arrested, not because you committed a crime, but because a computer program predicted crime in your area. The computer program might be basing this prediction on historical information that reflects decades of biased policing rather than actual crime rates. Investigative journalism has revealed that these computer programs are often inaccurate and racially biased. They unfairly flag minority neighborhoods and people. In some cities, people have been repeatedly visited by police simply because a computer program flagged them as high risk, even though they committed no crime. In Chicago, the police department used a computer program to create a heat list of people most likely to be involved in violent crime. People on the list would get surprise visits from police warning them they were being watched. Many people on the list had not committed any crime. They were flagged based on social connections, location, and past arrests, even if those arrests didn't lead to convictions. You might be part of this test right now. If you live in a city using predictive policing, a computer program might have assessed your likelihood of committing a crime based on where you live, who you know, your social media posts, and your past interactions with police, even minor ones. You'd never be told you're flagged. You just experience more police attention without understanding why. The test also extends to social networks. Some systems study social media to identify people who associate with known criminals, flagging them as potential criminals by association. Your Facebook friends, Instagram follows, and Twitter interactions could flag you in a predictive policing system. Several cities have stopped predictive policing programs after discovering they were ineffective and discriminatory, but many cities continue using them. The technology is also being sold to cities in other countries, some with far fewer civil liberties protections than the United States. You're part of a test in computer program law enforcement. Your information, where you live, where you go, who you know, what you post online, is being fed into systems that might flag you as a potential criminal. You never agreed to this test. You can't stop being part of it, and you can't even find out if you've been flagged. These 10 tests are all running right now. You're a test subject in all of them. You didn't agree. You probably weren't even aware they were happening. What makes these tests different from traditional research is the lack of informed consent. In real research, participants must be told what the study involves, what the risks are, and what will be done with the information. They must voluntarily agree to participate. They can quit at any time. None of that applies to the tests you're part of right now. You agreed by clicking I agree on agreements that you didn't read and probably couldn't understand even if you tried. The terms are deliberately vague, giving companies broad permission to test on you in ways you'd never expect. These tests are basically about power and profit. Tech companies want to understand human behavior well enough to predict and control it. Advertisers want to hack your decision-making to sell you things. Governments want surveillance abilities to track and control populations. Insurance companies and bosses want to predict your future health and behavior to discriminate against you. The information from these tests is creating detailed files about who you are, your psychological weak spots, your health problems, your financial situation, your relationships, your beliefs, your habits, your location patterns, your emotional states, your political views. These files exist in company and government databases. They are being studied, sold, and used to make decisions about you, often without your knowledge. The most disturbing part is that these tests are continuous and expanding. Each test creates insights that lead to more sophisticated tests. The systems are learning more about human behavior every day, becoming better at prediction and manipulation. And there's no meaningful regulation stopping this. You can take some steps to protect yourself. Use privacy-focused browsers and search engines. Turn off location tracking. Limit app permissions. Cover cameras. Use encrypted messaging. Avoid smart speakers. Read privacy policies. But these are partial measures. To truly stop being part of this, you'd have to abandon modern technology entirely. No smartphone, no social media, no internet shopping, no cloud services. For most people, that's not realistic. So the tests continue. Every day, you're creating information that's used to improve computer programs designed to predict and influence your behavior. You're a test subject in the largest behavioral research program in human history. And unlike traditional research subjects, you don't get paid, you can't quit, and you'll never see the results of the tests you're part of. The question isn't whether you're part of these tests. You are. The question is what happens when these tests succeed. When companies can predict your behavior with near certainty, when they can control your emotions reliably, when they can track your every movement, when they know your health problems before you do, when they can identify you anywhere in public, when computer programs can predict what you'll do before you do it, what kind of world have we created? These aren't future concerns. These tests are happening now. The information is being collected now. The computer programs are learning now. And you're helping train them whether you know it or not.